Welcome to today's edition of 3-Minute Halacha. We'd learned previously that if a person had written on the edges of the pages of a book, so that when you open the book, those words were broken, and when you close the book, the words were complete once again, that the Ramah felt that it is permitted to use that book on Shabbat. The Mishnah Berurah agrees, and in Siman Shin Mem 340 Sifkatan Tet Zayin, paragraph 16 adds, that nevertheless, if there's another book to choose from, which is the same book but without writing on the edges of the pages, it's better to use the other book. Rav Moshe Feinstein, in his second volume of Response on Yoredea, Siman Ayin Hey 75, was asked a related question about whether or not you're allowed to take a page that was torn and put it next to the rest of the page so that you can read that entire page of writing. According to Rav Moshe, even according to those positions that would forbid opening and closing the book, which had letters written on the edges, this should be permitted because each part of that torn page with the words on it is readable. It's not like you're creating the words, you're just bringing the words closer together. However, he adds that if it would be impossible to decipher what was on the page without bringing it together, there would be a basis to say you can't bring it together, it should be forbidden, even though generally there's no problem. And therefore, he said, you really don't have to be concerned. And if you have a page with writing on it that had been torn in half, you can put the two parts together on Shabbat so you can read them easier. The Shmirat Shabbat in chapter 28, paragraph 3, agrees with Rav Moshe, but adds a caveat, similar to what we had seen earlier from the Mishnah Berurah, that if you have another book where the pages weren't torn and you don't have to bring the parts of the pages together, it's better to use that other book. Finally, the Orchot Shabbat in Sif Yud Bet in his footnote 12 notes that even according to Rav Moshe, who permits putting the pages together, nevertheless, if it's possible not to put those two halves or the two parts of pages that were torn all the way together, but to leave some space in between, that way you can avoid all problems. And as a result, you would not be violating kotev when you bring them together or mochek when you separate them once again.